We've all heard the phrase, everything happens for a reason. It's often said in moments of pain, whispered as a form of comfort when life doesn't go our way. But let's be honest, when you're standing in the wreckage of a failed relationship, a lost job, or an unexpected tragedy, those words can feel empty, even insulting. How can suffering have a purpose? How can betrayal, loss, or failure be part of the plan? The truth is, life doesn't owe us explanations. The universe isn't required to make sense. But here's where perspective changes everything. Maybe it's not about what happens to you, but how you respond to it. Stoic philosophy teaches that we don't control external events, only our interpretations and reactions. Epictetus put it best, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Perhaps the real meaning behind everything happens for a reason isn't that life follows a pre-written script, but that we have the power to assign meaning to our experiences. Maybe the heartbreak pushes you toward self-discovery. Failure forces you to grow. The rejection redirects you to something better. So instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what can I learn from this? Because in the end, the reason isn't always given. It's created. So stay with me. If this message resonates with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Now, let's begin. 1. You choose how to see things. Life is not what happens to you. Life is how you choose to see it. Two people can go through the same event. One sees disaster, the other sees opportunity. The difference? Mindset. Think about this. Two men lose their jobs on the same day. The first man spirals into despair. He curses the company, blames the economy, and convinces himself that life is unfair. He spends months feeling bitter, waiting for something to change. But the second man reacts differently. He takes a moment to process the setback, but instead of dwelling on it, he asks himself, what's next? He updates his resume, reaches out to contacts, and starts developing new skills. A year later, he's in a better position than before, working in a career he never would have considered if he hadn't lost his job. Same event. Those are two completely different outcomes. One led to stagnation, the other led to growth. Why? Because perception dictates reality. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." But most people never realize this truth. They live as prisoners of circumstance, letting life dictate how they feel. They assume events control them, when in reality it's their interpretation of those events that shapes their experience. Imagine walking outside and being caught in a sudden downpour. One person curses the sky, runs for shelter, and spends the rest of the day irritated. Another person, he smiles, takes a deep breath, and walks calmly in the rain, accepting it for what it is. They are in the same storm and the same situation, yet one person is miserable while the other embraces the moment. The event isn't what defines your experience, your response is. This is the foundation of mental resilience. If you see every setback as a catastrophe, you will always be at war with life. But if you train your mind to see obstacles as opportunities, you become unstoppable. Consider this. What if every so-called bad event in your life was actually a hidden lesson? What if every difficulty was simply a doorway to something greater? A rejection might feel painful, but what if it's pushing you toward a better opportunity? A failure may seem devastating, but what if it's teaching you exactly what you need to know to succeed next time? A painful breakup might leave you feeling empty, but what if it's clearing space for the right person to enter your life? Life is always speaking to you, but most people don't listen. They resist, they complain, they waste energy wishing things were different instead of adapting to what is. But here's the truth. You can't control the world. You can only control how you see it. History proves this over and over again. In 1914, Thomas Edison's entire laboratory burned to the ground. Years of work gone in flames. Most people would have fallen apart, but Edison, he stood there, watching the fire and said, "Thank goodness all our mistakes are burning. We can start fresh." That's the mind of a Stoic, a man who refuses to see himself as a victim. And what happened next? Within weeks, Edison was back to work, more determined than ever. He didn't waste time mourning what was lost. He focused on what he could create next. The same principle applies to your life. You don't need a catastrophe to shift your mindset. You can start today, right now. The next time something doesn't go your way, pause before reacting. Instead of jumping to conclusions, ask yourself, what is this teaching me? Shift your perspective. Instead of saying, why is this happening to me? Try asking, how is this happening for me? When you stop seeing life as an enemy and start seeing it as a teacher, everything changes. Detachment is key. Events are neutral. They have no meaning until you assign one to them. You can train yourself to see events without emotional bias, to observe without reacting. The next time you face a setback, recognize that it's just another moment in a long journey. You've survived worse, and you'll survive this too. What if you turned every rejection into motivation? What if every setback was simply a lesson in disguise? Lost an opportunity? Good. Now you have space for something greater. Faced failure? Perfect. Now you know what doesn't work. Everything you experience is filtered through your mind. Your mind is the lens, and you get to choose the focus. The Stoics understood this truth, and it's why they thrived in adversity while others collapsed under pressure. Life will test you. It will throw challenges in your path. But those challenges are not meant to break you. They are meant to shape you. The question is not, will difficulties come? Because they will. The question is, how will you choose to see them? 2. Life's challenges are not here to destroy you, but to test you. Hardship doesn't exist to break you. It exists to build you. Steel is only strong because it has been through fire. The same applies to people. Pain, struggle, and adversity, these are life's great tests. Some crumble under pressure. Others rise. The difference? Mindset. The way you view hardship determines whether you become weaker or stronger. Some see obstacles as punishment. But what if they are preparation? What if life is refining you, sharpening you, making you unshakable? Think back to the hardest moment of your life. The moment that pushed you to your limits. The moment that made you question everything. Now ask yourself, did it destroy you, or did it force you to grow? This is the truth that most people miss. Every challenge is a test. Every setback is an invitation to evolve. But most refuse to see it. They resist, complain, and blame. They want ease, comfort, and certainty. But that's not how strength is built. Look at nature. The strongest trees don't grow in perfect conditions. They grow where the wind is relentless, where the storms are brutal. Their roots dig deep because they have no choice. They adapt or they fall. You are no different. Every difficulty you face is a force pushing you to dig deeper, to grow stronger, to become something greater than you were before. But here's the problem. Most people fear discomfort. They run from struggle. They avoid difficulty at all costs. And in doing so, they weaken themselves. They become fragile. But a Stoic sees things differently. A Stoic understands that struggle is the price of resilience. That challenge is the foundation of wisdom. That hardship is the training ground for an indomitable mind. If you want to be strong, you must be tested. If you want to be wise, you must face uncertainty. If you want to be unshakable, you must endure storms without breaking. This is the path of those who refuse to be victims. This is the mindset of those who refuse to be controlled by fear. Most people spend their lives waiting for things to get easier, but easy is a lie. Life doesn't get easier. You get stronger. The weight never changes. You simply become strong enough to carry it. But that only happens if you stop resisting and start embracing the struggle. Imagine this. Every challenge you face is a battle. Not against the world. Not against fate, but against the weaker version of yourself. Every hardship is an opportunity to shed weakness, to refine your character, to become something unbreakable. And every time you choose growth over comfort, you win. So how do you start? First, stop running. Face the challenge head on. Stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? Shift your focus. Struggle is not a curse. It's a gift. It's revealing your limits so you can break past them. It's showing you your flaws so you can strengthen them. It's forging you into someone who is not at the mercy of life, but the master of it. Second, learn to love difficulty. The Stoics believed in training the mind through voluntary discomfort. Why? When you seek out small struggles, you train yourself to handle bigger ones. Cold showers, fasting, pushing yourself beyond what's comfortable. These things may seem insignificant, but they build something powerful, mental toughness. Finally, never let hardship define you. Let it refine you. Whatever you're facing right now, whatever storm is tearing through your life, remember this: storms pass. But those who endure, they remain, and they are never the same. They are stronger, wiser, unshakable. Life is testing you, not to see if you will break, but to see if you will rise. The only question is, will you? 3. When one door closes, another opens. But you must see it. Have you ever looked back at a painful experience and thought, if that didn't happen, I wouldn't be where I am today? At the time, it felt like everything was falling apart. But now, with hindsight, you see the truth. It was pushing you towards something greater. This is how life works. A lost job, a broken relationship, a failed opportunity. These feel like endings, but they are often beginnings in disguise. The problem? Most people don't see it. They focus so much on the closed door that they never turn around to notice the one that just opened. We resist change. We cling to what is familiar, even when it no longer serves us. We mourn what we lost instead of preparing for what's next. We convince ourselves that what was taken away was the best we could ever have. But life doesn't work that way. Life moves forward with or without us. And if you refuse to adapt, if you refuse to shift your focus from what is gone to what is ahead, you will be left behind. Think about it. How many times in history has what seemed like a devastating failure turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to someone? How many times has rejection been redirection? It's not just coincidence, it's perspective. The Stoics understood this well. They knew that when life takes something away, it's not punishment, it's preparation. It's making space for something greater. But to see that, you have to be willing to let go of what's no longer yours. You have to trust that what's ahead is more important than what's behind. Trust doesn't mean waiting. It doesn't mean sitting still, hoping something better appears. It means taking action and moving forward, even when you don't have all the answers. It means choosing progress over paralysis. Life will always present moments where you feel stuck, where a door slams shut in your face. You didn't get the promotion. The person you loved walked away. The business collapsed. These moments test you. They challenge your patience, your resilience, and your ability to adapt. And in these moments, you have two choices. You can either stand there, banging on the closed door, begging for something that is already gone, or you can turn around and start looking for the next opportunity. Because here's the truth. New doors don't always announce themselves. Sometimes they appear in places you never expected. Sometimes they require you to leap into the unknown. Sometimes they don't look like doors at all, just small openings that demand courage to step through. But they are always there, waiting for you to see them. The question is whether you will. The Stoics teach us that acceptance is power, not passive acceptance, not resignation, but active acceptance. The kind that says, this is what happened, now what's next? This mindset shifts everything. It turns obstacles into stepping stones. It transforms setbacks into opportunities. It removes the burden of unnecessary suffering because you no longer waste time fighting reality. Most people get stuck in the past. They replay moments over and over, thinking about what could have been, what should have been, what they lost. But the strongest, most resilient people don't waste time on what could have been. They focus on what can be. They know that nothing is truly lost, only transformed. A closed door is not a failure. It is life saying, this is not your path, keep moving. It is the universe shifting you in a different direction. It is a moment of redirection, not rejection. But to benefit from it, you must have the courage to let go. If you are holding on to something that has already left, you are not open to what is coming next. If your mind is trapped in the past, you will never see the future that is unfolding in front of you. Think about how this applies to your life. What are you holding on to that no longer exists? What opportunity have you been ignoring because you are too focused on what you lost? What doors have already opened, but you've been too stubborn, too fearful, too unwilling to turn around and see them? Life is not against you. It is guiding you, but only if you are willing to move. Only if you are willing to trust that what is ahead is greater than what is behind. Look around. The next door is already open. The only question is, will you have the courage to walk through it? 4. Acceptance is not surrender. The crucial difference in Stoicism. Life is unpredictable. No matter how much control you think you have, reality will always find a way to remind you otherwise. Plans fall apart, people leave, unexpected challenges hit when you least expect them. And in these moments you have a choice: fight against reality or accept it. But here's the problem. Most people think acceptance means giving up. They think it means weakness, resignation, or letting life walk all over them. They couldn't be more wrong. Acceptance is not surrender. Acceptance is power. It is looking at reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. It is the ability to stand firm in the face of chaos, to see things clearly, and to respond with wisdom instead of emotion. Surrender means defeat. It means letting circumstances dictate your life. It means saying, "There's nothing I can do, so why try?" But acceptance? Acceptance says, "This is the situation. Now how will I respond?" This is where most people get stuck. They resist what is happening. They refuse to accept the truth. They waste energy fighting against things they cannot change. And in doing so, they make their suffering worse. They believe that if they complain enough, deny enough, or wish hard enough, reality will bend to their will. But reality doesn't work like that. Reality doesn't care about how much you resist it. It moves forward, whether you accept it or not. So why fight a battle you cannot win? Why waste energy clinging to what was instead of focusing on what is? Stoicism teaches us that the only thing we control is our perception and response. Everything else, people, circumstances, the past, the future, is outside of our hands. The more you resist what you cannot control, the more pain you create for yourself. The moment you accept reality, you take back your power. You stop fighting pointless battles. You free your mind to focus on what matters. Acceptance does not mean inaction. It does not mean passively letting life happen to you. It means facing reality head-on, no matter how uncomfortable it is. It means recognizing what is beyond your control and shifting your focus to what you can control. It means adapting, adjusting, and taking action from a place of clarity, not fear. Most people live in a state of resistance. They refuse to let go of the past. They hold on to anger, regret, and disappointment, carrying them like weights that slow them down. They replay mistakes over and over, trapped in their own minds. But the truth is, the past is done. No amount of regret will change it. The future is unknown. No amount of worry will predict it. The only thing you have is this moment. And at this moment, you can choose to accept or you can choose to resist. Resistance leads to frustration. Acceptance leads to freedom. When you stop resisting, you stop suffering. You stop wishing things were different and start working with what you have. You gain clarity. You make better decisions. You focus on solutions instead of problems. You become unshakable. Most people believe strength is about control. They think if they can control every aspect of their life, they will find peace. But true strength comes from letting go. It comes from understanding that control is an illusion. It comes from knowing that the only real control you have is over yourself. Your thoughts, your actions, your responses. When you master that, you master life. So ask yourself, what are you resisting right now? What truth are you refusing to accept? What weight are you carrying that no longer serves you? Let it go. Accept what is. Focus on what you can change. Because once you do, you will realize something incredible. You were never powerless. You just need to stop fighting the wrong battles. 5. Hardships do not define you. Your response does. Life will test you. It will push you to the edge, break your plans, and challenge everything you thought you knew. But here's the truth. Hardships don't define you. Your response does. Pain is inevitable. Struggle is part of existence. No one is immune. Some collapse under the weight of adversity. Others rise above it. The difference? Choice. The way you choose to react to hardship determines whether it destroys you or strengthens you. Most people misunderstand suffering. They see it as an attack, as if life is out to get them. They take setbacks personally as proof that they are unlucky, cursed, or doomed to fail. They let pain consume them, weaken them, can control them. They allow themselves to be trapped by frustration, regret, and self-doubt. But Stoicism teaches a different way. Hardship is not an enemy. It is not a punishment. It is a mirror. It reveals who you really are. It strips away excuses. It forces you to confront your weaknesses and decide whether you will let them define you or overcome them. You don't control when hardship comes. You don't choose when life decides to test you, but you always control how you respond. That is where your power lies. Every challenge presents two paths. The first is the path of defeat, bitterness, self-pity, and blame. This is the easy path, the path of victims. The path leads nowhere. The second path is the path of strength, acceptance, action, and resilience. This is the harder path, the path of those who refuse to be broken. The moment you choose resilience over regret, power over helplessness, you stop being controlled by circumstances. Adversity is like fire. It can burn you or it can forge you. The fire itself doesn't decide. You do. Most people react emotionally to hardship. They let anger cloud their thinking. They let fear paralyze them. They let despair drain their energy. But emotions are unreliable. They come and go. They rise and fall like the tide. Strength comes from something deeper. Discipline, perspective, control. The ability to step back, take a breath, and see the bigger picture. When hardship strikes, most people ask, why me? They get lost in self-pity, searching for someone to blame. But Stoicism asks a better question. What can I do? When you ask better questions, you get better answers. And those answers lead to action. Action leads to progress. Progress leads to power. This is how resilience is built. Not by avoiding hardship, but by facing it with the right mindset. Most people think strength is about avoiding pain. They believe resilience means never struggling. But real strength is built in suffering. It's forged in the moments where you have nothing left but the choice to keep going. It's in the decision to stand up one more time, to take one more step, to fight when quitting feels easier. It's in the realization that no matter what happens, you always have a choice. To give in or to rise, to surrender or to adapt, to break or to rebuild. Hardship is not fair. It doesn't care about your plans. It doesn't wait until you're ready. It arrives unannounced and unapologetic. But it also brings something most people overlook: opportunity. Every struggle is a chance to grow. Every setback is a chance to learn. Every failure is a chance to rebuild, stronger than before. But only if you choose to see it that way. Only if you stop running from discomfort and start using it as a tool. Pain will visit everyone. It is part of the human experience. But suffering is a choice. It is the resistance to pain, the refusal to accept and adapt, the clinging to what cannot be changed. The Stoics understood this well. They knew that hardship was not the enemy. It was the training ground, the ultimate test, the forge in which strong minds are shaped. Look at your own life. What challenges are testing you right now? What struggles are weighing you down? What hardships are making you question yourself? Now ask yourself, how are you responding? Are you letting them control you, or are you using them to sharpen yourself? Are you stuck in the cycle of resistance, or are you stepping forward with clarity and purpose? Hardship is the chisel that carves character. It is the storm that strengthens roots. It is the weight that builds muscle. But only if you let it. Only if you stop seeing it as the enemy and start using it as a tool. Everything you go through shapes you. Every obstacle is a stepping stone. Every test is an invitation to become something more. But you must choose. You must decide whether you will be shaped by hardship or crushed by it. Whether you will resist the pain or transform it into power. Whether you will let it define you or whether you will define yourself. You cannot escape adversity, but you can decide what it makes of you. That choice is yours. It has always been yours. So what will you choose? 6. Stop asking, why is this happening to me? Start asking, what can I learn? Pain is inevitable. Struggle is part of life. But how do you react to it? That is entirely in your control. Most people make the same mistake. When adversity strikes, they ask the wrong question. Why is this happening to me? They feel like victims. They search for someone to blame. They convince themselves that life is unfair, that the universe is against them. But this thinking leads nowhere. It keeps them stuck. It blinds them to the one truth that could set them free. Hardship is not an attack. It is a lesson. And lessons are only useful if you pay attention. The better question, the one that separates the strong from the weak, is what can I learn? Instead of resisting, observe. Instead of complaining, analyze. Instead of running from discomfort, lean into it. Life is always teaching you something, but most people never listen. They are too caught up in their own frustration, too obsessed with what they have lost, too afraid to let go of their old ways of thinking. The mind is like a lens. If you focus on unfairness, you will always find evidence of it. If you focus on growth, you will always find opportunities. The choice is yours. Some people spend years trapped in the same cycle of pain, repeating the same mistakes, because they never stop to ask, what is this trying to teach me? They refuse to reflect, they refuse to adjust, they refuse to see that every setback contains wisdom if you are willing to look for it. The truth is, suffering without growth is wasted pain. Hardships will come whether you learn from them or not. The question is whether you will leave each battle stronger or broken, whether you will extract wisdom or let the moment slip away, whether you will transform pain into power or allow it to consume you. There is no neutrality. Either you evolve or you stagnate. Either you learn or you repeat the same failures over and over. Most people ask, why me? Because they want to avoid responsibility. They want to believe that suffering is random, that it has no purpose, that there is nothing they can do but endure it. But this is a lie. Every challenge, every failure, every betrayal is an opportunity to learn something critical about yourself. How do you handle stress? How do you react when things don't go your way? Do you let emotions control you? Do you crumble under pressure? Do you ignore warning signs, repeat bad habits, or refuse to adapt? Life is constantly presenting you with situations designed to show you where you need to improve. But improvement is impossible if you refuse to acknowledge your own weaknesses. Adversity does not expose life's unfairness. It exposes your mindset. It reveals whether you are mentally prepared for success or if you still have work to do. Those who thrive in life are not the ones who have it easy. They are the ones who ask the right questions. They are the ones who take every hardship and extract meaning from it. They are the ones who refuse to waste pain. Everything that happens to you is feedback. Everything. The setbacks, the struggles, the disappointments, the failures. They are all pointing at something. An area where you need to grow, a skill you need to develop, a habit you need to break, a mindset you need to change. But if you are too busy asking, why is this happening to me? You will never see the lesson. You will never adjust. You will never reach your full potential. Pain is the ultimate teacher, but only if you are willing to listen. It will show you the parts of yourself that need work. It will force you to confront the truth you have been avoiding. It will strip away illusion and expose the reality of who you are. And that is where transformation happens. Not in comfort, not in ease, but in the raw, brutal honesty of hardship. Growth is a choice. And the most powerful shift you can make is to stop seeing life as something that happens to you and start seeing it as something that happens for you. Every obstacle, every challenge, every painful moment, it's not there to punish you. It's there to prepare you. It's there to sharpen you. It's there to build the version of you that is capable of handling what comes next. Most people resist this truth because they want life to be easier. They want the path to be smooth, the road to be straight, the journey to be painless. But that's not how strength is built. That's not how wisdom is gained. That's not how transformation happens. Nothing great is ever achieved without struggle. No one becomes unshakable without first being tested. So stop asking the wrong question. Stop searching for pity. Stop waiting for life to be fair. Instead, ask yourself what this moment is teaching you. Ask yourself how you can use this to grow. Ask yourself what kind of person you will become because of it. The lesson is always there, waiting for you to see it. The only question is, will you? 7. You cannot control events, but you can control your response. The world is unpredictable. No matter how much we plan, no matter how much we try to avoid discomfort, life will always move in ways we cannot foresee. Some days will unfold as expected, but others will bring setbacks, losses, or disappointments that shake our sense of stability. This is the nature of existence. Uncertainty is built into it. There is a temptation to believe that control equals security. That if we manage every detail, anticipate every risk, and avoid every potential mistake, we can shape life exactly as we want. But control is an illusion. The weather changes without our permission. People make choices that affect us in ways we never intended. Accidents happen, plans fall apart, No amount of resistance or frustration will stop life from unfolding as it does. The Stoics understood this deeply. They did not attempt to control the uncontrollable. Instead, they focused on what was always within their grasp, their response. Epictetus said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." This is the foundation of Stoicism, not the avoidance of hardship, but the mastery of one's reaction to it. A mind that expects control will always suffer. When things go wrong, it will resist, it will complain, it will ask why, as if fairness was something guaranteed. But a mind trained in Stoic thought understands that external events are neutral until we assign them meaning. A delay, an argument, an unexpected difficulty, these are not inherently good or bad. They simply are. The only thing that determines their effect on us is our interpretation. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Strength is not the absence of hardship. It is the ability to stand in hardship and remain steady. The ability to separate what is within your control from what is not. The ability to recognize that suffering does not come from events themselves, but from the way we choose to engage with them. When something goes wrong, there are always two paths. One is resistance. It is anger at the situation, frustration at its unfairness, bitterness at the lack of control. This path changes nothing. It only deepens suffering. The other path is acceptance. Not passive acceptance, not surrender, but an understanding that fighting what already is will only drain energy that could be used elsewhere. That while the event itself may not be within our power, the way we meet it always is. This is what makes Stoicism a philosophy of action, not resignation. It does not teach people to ignore injustice or pretend that pain is not real. It teaches them to channel their energy where it is useful, to move forward rather than stay trapped in resentment, to make peace with uncertainty rather than be consumed by the need to control what was never theirs to control in the first place. Most people believe that emotions are automatic, that frustration, disappointment, or anger are things that happen to them beyond their influence. But emotions are shaped by thoughts, and thoughts are within our control. When something happens, we decide the meaning it carries. We decide whether to let it ruin our day or to treat it as a minor inconvenience. We decide whether to see it as a curse or as a test of patience. This is why two people can face the same event and yet experience it in completely different ways. It is not the event itself, but the perspective through which they see it. Training the mind to react with calmness does not mean suppressing emotions. It means recognizing them without letting them take control. A person who understands this principle does not panic when things go wrong. They do not waste time demanding explanations from life. Instead, they ask, "What now?" They focus on the next step rather than the injustice of the moment. They adapt, adjust, and move forward. Control is not about bending the world to our will. It is about mastering ourselves so that no matter what the world brings, we remain steady. We do not always have control over what happens, but we always have control over who we become in response to it. 8. Today's struggles may not make sense now, but one day you will understand. There are moments in life when nothing seems to make sense. Times when every effort feels wasted, every step forward seems to be met with resistance, and every plan unravels despite our best intentions. In these moments, it is easy to question everything, to wonder if we are on the wrong path, if we are making the wrong choices, or if we are simply unlucky. The mind seeks clarity, yet all it finds is uncertainty. It is in these moments that frustration takes hold. The desire for immediate answers becomes overwhelming. We ask, why is this happening? What does this mean? When will things get better? But no answers come. The uncertainty remains, and so does the struggle. Stoicism teaches us that meaning is not always revealed in the moment, that clarity does not always come when we demand it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "All things fade into the storied past, and in a little while are shrouded in oblivion." What feels like a defining struggle today may in time become nothing more than a memory. What seems unbearable now may one day be seen as necessary. But we do not see this when we are in the middle of it. We see only the weight of the moment. There is a tendency to believe that pain must come with immediate explanation, that if something is difficult, it must instantly reveal its purpose. But life does not operate on our timeline. The lessons we are meant to learn do not always arrive when we expect them. Often they are only visible when we look back, when time has softened the sharp edges of experience and allowed us to see the patterns that were invisible before. This is why patience is necessary. Epictetus said, "No greatness created suddenly." Struggles, setbacks, and moments of confusion are not interruptions to life's path. They are part of it. They are the spaces in between clarity, the moments before understanding. To demand meaning from them too soon is to misunderstand the nature of growth. When something difficult happens, the mind wants resolution. It wants to categorize the event. Was this good or bad? A step forward or a step back? But sometimes the only honest answer is, "I don't know yet." And that is enough. To sit with uncertainty, to allow struggle to exist without rushing to label it, this is the foundation of resilience. It is the practice of trusting that what does not make sense now may, in time, reveal itself. Nothing is wasted if we remain open to learning. Every setback, every delay, every unexpected turn carries something within it. Some struggles make sense quickly, others take years. But in the end, they all shape us. The person who looks back 5 years from now will see the connections that today's version of ourselves cannot yet grasp. The hardship that seems senseless now may be the very thing that leads to something greater. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Whatever happens to you was prepared for you in advance from the beginning of time." Whether or not we believe this literally is not the point. The point is that fighting against the present moment only deepens suffering. But when we accept that we do not yet see the full picture, we free ourselves from the burden of needing all the answers right now. The mind craves certainty. It wants to know what will happen next. But uncertainty is a fact of life. And just because we do not yet see the purpose in something does not mean it has none. One day, what seems confusing now may become clear. One day, what feels like an ending may be understood as a beginning. One day, today's struggles may make sense. Until then, we endure. We trust that growth is happening even when we do not yet see its shape. Life rarely unfolds as we expect. Challenges arise, plans fall apart, and the meaning behind our struggles is not always clear. But if Stoicism teaches us anything, it is this: we do not suffer because of what happens to us, but because of how we interpret it. You cannot control every event, but you can always control your response. You cannot avoid hardship, but you can decide whether it weakens you or strengthens you. The meaning of your experiences is not something you wait for. It is something you create. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Everything that happens is either endurable or not. If it is endurable, then endure it. If it is not, then stop complaining." His words remind us that resistance brings suffering, while acceptance brings clarity. The more we embrace this mindset, the less we feel like victims of circumstance, and the more we step into our own power. Every difficulty carries a lesson. Every setback holds an opportunity for growth. When struggles come, ask yourself, what is this teaching me? How can I use this? With time, the answers will come. Now I invite you to reflect. What experience in your life once felt meaningless but later made sense? Share your story in the comments. Let's learn from one another.